Hello. The amount of error in thinking that people who try to give advice on how to deal with problems with being victimized by a narcissist, the amount of error in thinking that they have is absurd. The people you know around you are not prepared to give you anything helpful in order to help you with after narcissistic abuse. Not prepared. You gotta go look for yourself, talk to other abuse victims, because if you believe the psychological folklore that there is around there, is all crap. It's not healthy, and it's gonna do more harm than good. Cognitive dissonance. They are two words that when you read books about cognitive dissonances, you kind of understand it, but it would be easier if we understood the words. And cognitive, I went to look for it, and cognitive means mental or in the mind, of the mind. And dissonance means conflict or difference. So when we hear cognitive dissonance, we can think about it as a mental conflict or mind conflict or mental difference. And this mental conflict happens when you still believe in something despite you having lots of evidence to the contrary. You believe in something, and the amount of evidence suggests that the reality is the total opposite of that which you believe. But despite all the evidence, for example, that the narcissist does not love you, that the narcissist is lying to us, and for example, the evidence that the narcissist doesn't love us is his egotism, because if he's always thinking about his own good, he's not thinking about your good. Therefore, he doesn't love you. And somebody says that love, I guess the word love means to get out of yourself. You can go look for it about what love means. But love, it has to do with getting out of yourself and putting the other first before yourself. And obviously narcissists are incapable of putting you first, of getting out of themselves, because they are self-centered. Therefore, narcissists can't love. So the evidence is starts to appear that the narcissist doesn't love us. But we believe in the first in what the narcissist tells us, to make us to sell the idea that he loves us, to sell the idea that he cares for us. Once we believe this, and once he feels he sold the idea that we bought it and that he got us hooked, he doesn't have to sell that. And then the mental conflict or the cognitive dissonance starts to appear, because then the narcissist relaxes and he starts to give us evidence that, and that's reality, facts, that he doesn't love us. But the state of the cognitive dissonance is that we still believe it. We still believe that the narcissist is that wonderful person, the image that he wants to sell us. And many people ask themselves, why did I believe it? Because it's very hard to several things happen that makes it difficult to believe, to stop believing the lies and start believing the facts. One, many things we are hooked. Being in love is a very powerful chemical phenomenon, and basically it is an addiction. So you will do everything in your power to keep the drug with you. You don't want to lose the drug, the highs, you know? So what do we do in order to resolve the cognitive dissonance? We rationalize, we give explanations. And see, any mental conflict is painful. So when we are in cognitive dissonance, in mental conflict, we are in pain. And we want to get rid of that pain. And especially when we are in love. So the weapon that we use to get rid of the pain, of the dissonance, is rationalization. When we explain to ourselves then we solve the conflict, the pain goes away, and the conflict is resolved. And we keep the lover, we keep believing despite all the evidence. But because the evidence creates conflict and conflict is painful, we want to get rid of that. Now, rationalization. We can give lots of explanations to ourselves. When we have the evidence that the person is abusive, we see that, and then we try to explain ourselves. No, he says he loves me, so therefore there's gotta be something wrong with my perceptions. I didn't hear that, I didn't see that. So we explain ourselves, well, maybe I misunderstood the abuser. But that is a sign that this rationalization plays on our low self-esteem, because low self-esteem makes us doubt ourselves, our mind. So if we already have issues with low self-esteem, being in a relationship with the narcissist corrodes even more our self-esteem. And then when the abuser plays with that powerful weapon called gaslighting, it's even worse. And it corrodes even more our self-esteem, because then it's us plus the other, the abuser. So you have two minds destroying a poor soul, which is the victim. The victim's own mind and the very aware mind of the narcissist, who's gaslighting on purpose, corroding your self-esteem. So we rationalize, well, he says he loves me, he's a human being, but he did that awful thing. So we explain many ways to resolve the conflict. Maybe I did something wrong, maybe I didn't hear what I heard, I didn't see what I saw. So the onus, it's always on you. You get all the blame, let's say, the blame. You get all the responsibility for what you are seeing and feeling. But if you explain to yourself, that doesn't, the conflict is resolved, but that doesn't mean you're gonna feel better for so long. Sooner the abuse will come back and you're gonna feel bad again. You're gonna have a new conflict to deal with, a new cognitive dissonance, and you keep rationalizing and explaining. So the abuser never explains himself, and if he does, it is via defensiveness, which is not healthy, but I'm not gonna get into that. And the explanations might be lies anyhow, but you are the one who has to do all the work on the relationship, and especially when cognitive dissonance happens, because you explain everything, but the explanation means that there's something wrong with us, with you, never with the other, with the abuser. And then we do rationalizations to get the conflicts out of our minds and let's be in peace. But then there comes a time when we have to say, or we hear people telling us to say something like this, like, well, the narcissist is a person who's wounded. Well, that's not my problem. I am wounded too, and that does not give me the permission to wound other people in order to get my fixes and not feel bad and survive, okay? So everybody's wounded, everybody carries some wound. Does that justifies me killing somebody or hurting every person's feelings to survive? No. So the actions of an abusive narcissist, they are inexcusable. There is no explanation that's possible to give to somebody who acts with whose behavior is inexcusable, inexplainable, irrational. There's no way to rationalize something irrational. Now, if you try to rationalize, you're gonna solve maybe the cognitive dissonance, But that doesn't change the fact that the behavior was irrational and that you are being irrational in believing a fantasy. So there's no health. There's no health in the abuser, and there's no health in the victim who is rationalizing. In fact, who is fantasizing explanations to a behavior which it's not explainable. You go and stab someone with a knife. Try to find a reason to explain that. What explains someone stabbing a person? It doesn't. The person, of course, the abuser will give explanations as if what he did was explainable. But that is a maneuver to manipulate society. Maybe if there was an explanation, the explanation would be that the abuser doesn't know why he did what he did. And if he knows, the explanation is not pretty for him. You think a narcissist would say, well, I deceived you to have you for a period of time in my life because I am addicted to attention and I am dependent on your attention and on everybody's attention. That's not pretty. That would make the narcissist feel inferior. So, and even so, the narcissist said, I need you as a drug. Okay, you need a drug, but that does not justify what you did to me. So, there's no explanation to an irrational need or behaviors. And then comes society in their psychological folklore and says, oh, but you gotta be sorry for the narcissist. That's to solve the cognitive dissonance, because the conflict is this. There's a human being. The abuser is a human being. But what he does is inhuman, is monstrous. So there is a conflict there. The lie is that person is a human being. He's social. He is superior. Not superior. He's so charismatic. He's so polite. And he says, and he's even victimized because he says he was being victimized. He's so innocent. But the evidence is that the person is not human, and that the person is a monster. So there's a conflict there. So society does not want you to feel the pain of this discomfort. So what society does? Let's rationalize that behavior. Because society, they don't like to feel dumb. Society needs to have an answer so they don't appear dumb, but because they don't have an answer, they will just solve the cognitive dissonance, say, oh, maybe the victim was was to blame, or we have to feel sorry for the narcissist because he's a wounded person, and because of this and because of that, which doesn't, it's not valid, okay? Not valid. There's no becauses. So if we think about it, say, wait a minute, I am in pain, I am traumatized, I've been gaslighted, I'm sad, I'm frustrated because I don't have what I need and want, I am unheard of, I am discounted, I am mistreated, I am yelled at, I'm called names, I am accused, I am blamed, I am humiliated, I am manipulated, and all the toxic feelings that go with this. And there's something more. And I take abuse, I walk on eggshells, I stay calm and stay silent just not to rock the boat. And then society comes and says, wait, you have to do one more thing. You have to feel sorry for the narcissist. Okay? Feel sorry my ass. Get the fuck out of my face with this. Feel sorry for the narcissist. First, feel sorry is not a healthy thing to say to anyone. Because I bet that you heard something like this. Well, self-pity is not good. You cannot pity yourself. It's not healthy. If you stay there feeling sorry for yourself, no good come out of it. And when you see in movies some characters say, I pity you, and the other character says, save your pity. I don't need your pity. So, feeling sorry for yourself and feeling sorry for somebody else, feeling pity for somebody else, it's not healthy for you, nor for the narcissist, nor for the other person. So, when society says you should feel sorry for the narcissist, that's unhealthy advice. That's a complete bad idea. Bad idea. Because feeling sorry for yourself takes away your dignity. But feeling sorry for the narcissist doesn't help the narcissist. The narcissist is a creature that doesn't care anyhow. But feeling sorry for the narcissist doesn't help you nor the narcissist. And worse, feeling sorry for an abuser puts you in a weaker state of mind than that of the abuser. Because you will not be able to help anyone when you feel sorry for that person. Because if you feel sorry for that person, that means you're weak. And a weak person cannot help another weak person. So I hope that you can see this. That I am expressing myself right. So that we can fight society's idiotic idea and enraging idea that we should feel sorry for narcissists and explain the narcissist's behaviors, which are unexplainable. First of all, shoulds are not good, so there's a red flag there. Nobody should do anything. Should, no way, no shoulds. That's a sign of an unhealthy thought. Okay? So feeling sorry for anyone doesn't help you nor the person. So to begin with, we should not be encouraged to feel sorry for someone, to feel pity for someone. And everybody says don't feel pity for yourself, but they don't say don't feel pity for the narcissist or for this or that person. And then they come and say, oh yes, feel sorry for the narcissist. What the fuck is that? So we cannot feel sorry for ourselves, but we have to feel sorry for abusers. Why? Because it's easier than to recognize that that person is giving signs that that person is abusive, is an asshole, cannot function, has emotional problems, has lots of behavioral um, blockings, is blocked. He can't do many things. He can't think straight because of pathological low self-esteem. And pathological low self-esteem makes the person misinterpret everything that you do for her, and they interpret it and see it in a negative light because they don't feel deserving of good treatment. So you can treat a narcissist like the king or the queen. He will find some kind of twisted thought to say or to think and to say to you that you are mistreating him. Because to the narcissist, he let's say I am a narcissist. My thinking goes like this: I am not worthy of good treatment. I am not lovable. I don't deserve this. So why the person is doing this to me? Oh, maybe the person wants to use me. Maybe the person is just pretending to take something away from me. The person wants to hurt me. I don't know, something like this. So you see the incongruence, let me see the word that I'm looking for. The discrepancy, the inconsistency in society's advice, bad advice. You should not feel sorry for yourself, but you should feel sorry for the narcissist to resolve the conflict. And then why? Oh, because the narcissist is a wounded soul, and because the narcissist is this, because the narcissist is that. But you cannot explain, you cannot give becauses to a barbarian, to, let's say, animal, but that will be insulting to animals, because animals don't do what narcs do. No. And rationalize the narcissist behavior to put an end to cognitive dissonance. So since we cannot explain the unexplainable, the irrational abuse, yelling, calling names, accusing, humiliating, okay, the other thing we can do is, there is evidence that this person is an abuser. What am I gonna do about it? I am being unheard. I am being unheard. I am being mistreated. The relationship doesn't depend only on me. It depends on two people. So the solution? Go look for somebody else. Stop trying to be heard. Stop trying to be understood. Stop trying to explain the unexplainable, because the evidence is there. Stop taking the accusations, and that is not going to be easy, because you will be addicted to that person, maybe in love, maybe isolated, because abusers, they isolate us even physically and economically. They set a trap, so you get entrapped. But instead of trying to explain the unexplainable and live in a fantasy world, irrational, believe the facts and get out, and that's, in theory, that's that's the healthy thing to do. If it is doable for you at this time, at this moment, or not, in the end it's gonna have to be doable because your life depends on it. There is no other way. And you will solve the cognitive dissonance is going to be resolved by believing the facts. Okay, the evidence is this. Instead of solving the conflict by rationalizing, explaining the abuser's behavior, and you take all the emotional load, I think it would be healthy if we just, no, I'm not gonna carry this load. Why should I carry all the load? That's not healthy for me. You keep the load, you, the ones who are giving this advice. You wanna carry it? That's yours. I am gonna believe the evidence. I am going to solve this dissonance in a healthy way, because I am not gonna feel sorry for myself, nor I am not gonna humiliate myself feeling sorry for the narcissist, because that will put me in a weaker state, in an even more pathetic state than the one the narcissist is. I respect myself, therefore I am gonna believe my mind in what I see, the evidence, and I'm gonna abandon this situation and this narcissist, and I'm gonna look for somebody else. Now, society is not prepared to give anything good concerning narcissistic abuse. Only the therapists that know this thing and the victims can tell you about it, and let society keep the psychological folklore, bad advice. Don't even bother going to them, because what they are going to say is just more craziness, because to tell you to feel sorry for somebody is crazy in itself. Even for the abuser, trying to explain the unexplainable is more craziness. I want you to see the irrationality, the craziness, and the danger to your mental sanity. It's insane. So don't dwell on this shit. Society says these things because it's easier to resolve the cognitive dissonance this way. Society is not worried about your sanity. Do the healthy thing. See the evidence, get out, and be in a healthy state and rational state. I tried to say everything I could about this matter. I hope I was clear enough to get rid of this, to help us get rid of this shit about feeling sorry for abusers.